كساء اليماني فغطيته به وسرت أنظر وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي، فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله، فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء، فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ قال عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب هودي، قد أذنت لك، فدخل معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي، فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله، فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء، فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافي أمتي، قد أذنت لك، فدخل معهما تحت الكساء، فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله، فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين، فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله، فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء، فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال لا وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك، فدخل علي تحت الكساء، ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت عليك السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال عليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدأتي، قد أذنت لك، فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما احتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيت وخاستي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن آلهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مدهية ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منير ولا شمسا مضيء ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذني أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا وعلي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حجته فقال علي وعليه السلام إذن والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة رب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
I'd like to welcome all the three brothers, Barker, Hassan and Ali, to this please. Please welcome them all with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو، میرے لاڈلے کہاں ہو، سینے تمہیں لگاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. بیٹا تمہارا قاتل میرے سامنے کھڑا ہے، جانے کیوں ہنس رہا ہے. چادر بھی لٹ گئی ہے، منہ کس طرح چھپاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. تیرے جھولے کو سکینہ رو رو کے چومتی ہے، تجھے گھر میں ڈھونڈتی ہے. تیری موت کی خبر میں کیسے اسے سناؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. میری جان جا رہی ہے یہ سوچ سوچ اصغر، اس پھول سے گلے پر یہ تیر کیسے جھیلا، بہنوں کو کیا بتاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. نیزے سے گر رہا ہے ننھا سا سر تمہارا، دل روتا ہے ہمارا. میرے ہاتھ تو بندھے ہیں، سر کس طرح اٹھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند میرے، تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں. جھولے کے ساتھ بیٹا میرے ہاتھ جل گئے ہیں، ظالم بھی ہنس رہے ہیں. تیری آخری نشانی کس طرح سے بچاؤں. اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں، آ جاؤ چاند یاد میرے تیری پیاس میں بجھاؤں اصغر میں تیری ماں ہوں محمد والے محمد صلی اللہ
It's always a beautiful recitation by the few brothers. Now I'd like to welcome on Ali Akbar to recite a poem for us. It's here.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
While we were reciting a quick poem by Imam Hussein. As the days are getting closer to the 10th, your name grows bigger in every sense. Millions of hands pounding millions of chests, tears forming oceans so immense. Men and women worldwide reaching for your shrine. You are the leader, the prince, the divine. They say our love for you grows deeper and deeper. Let it be known it grows bigger whenever we hear your name. The love of a saint is the gate to paradise. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I'd like to make an announcement. There's a car, there's a Mercedes that's parked outside with 21 reg plate. That needs to be.
Ya wala akbar, mera fahar ya wala akbar, akbar, mera fahar ya wala akbar, akbar, mera fahar ya wala akbar. Zakhm dil ke mein دکھاؤں میں کیسے زخم دل کے دکھاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر لاش اکبر پیشہ ہے جب پہنچے دل کو ہاتھوں سے تام کر بولے تیری فرقت نے علی اکبر آگ دل میں میرے لگا دی ہے آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر تو ہے گڑیاں جوائے بیٹا باپ تیرا ضعیف ہے کتنا نور آنکھوں کا ہو گیا روز مجھ کو آتا نہیں نظر خیمہ لے کے خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے لے کے خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر یا والا اکبر صلوات
MashaAllah, well done for your lovely recitation. And I request you to recite another last salat to Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I would like to recite a piece of poem that I wrote on Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, where the Prophet says, "Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmed. Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmed. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief, and hurt my pure soul. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad."
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmed. Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmad. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief and hurt my pure soul. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief and hurt my pure soul. I can feel the poison coursing through all my veins. Martyrdom is promised to us, we die in pain. Martyrdom is promised to us, we die in pain. How can they kill the ones sent down to cure their sins? After my death you will see true hardships begin. After my death you will see true hardships begin. My lovers will divide and kill one another. My lovers will divide and kill one another. My family will be killed and they will suffer. My family will be killed and they will suffer. My Hassan will vomit out his insides as he cries out. My Hassan will vomit out his insides as he cries out. There is no day like yours, my Hussein, my brother in Karbala. There is no day like yours, my Hussein, my brother in Karbala. We are the masters of the youth of paradise, yet we died in vain. Mother Zahra will cry out, what happened to my dear sons? Mother Zahra will cry out, what happened to my dear sons? Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmad. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief and hurt my pure soul. I was sent as a mercy and cure to mankind. I was sent as a mercy and cure to mankind. But my grave will feel lonely due to all mankind. My Ummah will try to mourn at my holy grave, but they'll be stopped and told this shirk, don't worship graves. But they'll be stopped and told this shirk, don't worship graves. I taught them how to treat daughters as they're precious. I taught them how to treat daughters as they're precious. After me they slapped the holiest of daughters. After me they slapped the holiest of daughters. Handprints were seen on her face. His handprint had stained her face. Handprints were seen on her face. His handprint had stained her face. The door I would cherish was burnt down when Zahra stood behind the door. The door I would cherish was burnt down when Zahra stood behind the door. The baby she carried inside her miscarried, crushed behind the door. This is how they treat daughters, just like before they slaughtered. This is how they treat daughters, just like before they slaughtered. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief and hurt my pure soul. Let me show you my sadness. I am the one called Ahmad. I will show you how they upset me, cause me grief and hurt my pure soul. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. I will now request Brother Sayyid Abbas Mashuri to come to the member to give another amazing lecture after Allah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Today's Majlis is dedicated to the organisers of the Majlis, those who have spent time and effort and money to arrange this gathering. So for any of their marhameen, for any of their family members who have passed away, and to honour and thank them, Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحة القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يعد حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدرك بعد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفكر، الذي ليس لصفته هد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت ممدود ولا عجل ممدود. أما بعد، صلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا حبيب إله العالمين أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله لا يغير ما بقومهم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I think we have maybe 2 or 3 majlises left, including this one. I'm going to take 3 as a random number out this time. And what I hope that means then is that we are coming towards the main part or the end of a journey we began on the 1st of Muharram, in which we said to ourselves, we want to know how can we learn from Imam Hussein alayhi salam to reform different parts of our life, so that we can become better and we can grow. And the most important thing was, I should leave these 10 days of Muharram at least in one way that's different to who I was when I started. At least one thing I learned from these 10 days, I'm going to allow it to change and impact my life. And that's why every day we've looked at a different part of our life, choose whether or not that's something I feel comfortable in trying to change and grow. Today we're going to be looking at how we can be a change and how we can be someone who is able to reform our whole community. The verse of Quran I mentioned at the beginning is almost like a secret to everyone who looks at the world and questions, why is the world such a bad place? Why is there suffering and war and violence? Why are people being mistreated? Why is there systematic oppression? What are we going to do about this? The Quran says Allah is not going to change the condition of the world or the community until we change what's in ourselves, which means we are a part of the solution of all the problems we're going to face in the world. Today I want to kind of go into the issue of how we can all change and be an ambassador for goodness in a whole community around us. But before we do, like I said, because we're coming to the end of the days of Muharram, every day you guys are listening to different masayib and parts of the sadness of Karbala. You know, in the end when you turn the lights off and you do the masayib, and when you go to other majlises you listen to the musibah, you are listening to the story of Karbala, and there are so many individuals who we hear about this companion, that friend, that family member. And I'd like to ask all of you a question, and I want to give yourself a minute to think about this. Of the different people who fight on Karbala or who are present at Karbala, which of them do you think you feel inspired by? Or you think that, you know, this person in Karbala, either they fought or they didn't fight, but they're part of the story. There's something about them that I feel like I can learn from. Has anyone got a member who they feel inspired by? Yeah, go ahead, brother. Brother Abbas alayhi salam, amazing. And what is it that connects you with him?
Is the way he sacrificed because he loved the Mawla.
Amazing. The idea of sacrificing for your family and love for Mawla. Beautiful point. Go ahead, brother. Awan and Muhammad, amazing answer. What is it about them that you feel close to? They didn't stop, they didn't give up here. Even though they were children and young, they kept going. That's a really nice thing to be inspired by. And in the sisters, the younger sister?
Hur,
Hazrat Hur alayhi salam, how is it Hur for you?
because like he was on the enemy side, but then he realized what he was doing wrong and went to go ask for forgiveness. So
Beautiful. Exactly. Hur was on the bad side or the evil side and he came back. That shows we can all come back, right? Thank you so much, sister. Go ahead, sister.
Imam Hassan said the way he like fought for Islam all by himself, he tried to just save Islam. He just fought for it by himself with nobody there to help him. So I feel like I'm more inspired by him because you shouldn't give up, but you should do stuff that are good for yourself.
Amazing answer. I can save himself, right? I really like that. He's the one who fights and saves Islam on his own at the end. There's no one left. Not an inspired person. That even if you're alone, you can help and you can be successful. Any brothers have a hand up? Go ahead. Qasim bin Hassan, amazing. How come it's Qasim? Yes, you can. Around 13 or 14 years old, yeah. But he's very young, yeah? The way that Hazrat Qasim asked permission to fight, you find that inspiring. I like the answer as well, and it's munasib for today as well. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa. Of course, even if they weren't martyred, you can still be inspired by them on the day of Ashura. Go ahead. Say the Zaynab alayhi salam. How come?
She had like a very unique struggle. She saw what her parents died, and you see her unique resolve throughout the whole day.
Yeah, she's almost like the witness of everything, right? And it's happening to her from her perspective as well. That's great. I'm glad someone said that. And by the way, anyone can be inspired by male or female in this story. That's how timeless the lessons are of Karbala. So Sayyidina Zainab can be inspiring for us so much more than other figures as well. Last point, go ahead, bro. As a Muslim, why as a Muslim?
He asked all the people night and day to come to the fight.
Yeah, he kept asking everyone and he didn't give up night and day. A great point. I said last, but any sisters want to say, I'll give them last words. Anyone in the back? Are we good? Okay. Thank you guys, and you're so right. The story of Karbala, every individual in that story has some lesson for us. And what you're going to find is, you might connect more to one person than another person. Or you might hear just one sentence about one person in the musibah and think, wow, I really understand what they're going through. And that's a great thing. So allow yourself this Muharram to sit down and just think and ponder of all the people we're speaking about, and maybe you'll find someone who you can relate to. Okay, whether they're young or old, male or female. Thank you guys. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One of the ways that we are told to be a reformer is like Imam Hussein was a reformer. He reformed his whole community. It wasn't just his family or himself. It was the whole community around him. Today we're interested in the idea of reforming the community and what that might mean. All of us as individuals, we are naturally social. Even though many of us like to be alone sometimes and spend time on our own, a part of us is only fulfilled with other people. We are known as a social being, a social animal. You can't rely your whole life, for example, in being in isolation. In the old days, they would say that you can't be a Muslim living in a cave. The idea being that if you're knowing God and you're reading Quran and you're doing these amazing things and mashallah you're learning so much, if you're in a cave alone and not going with people, your religion's not complete. Because you have to be with people to show your faith. I guess the modern day example of the cave, because no one really chills in caves anymore, would be being in your room on your phone or with your own TV. That maybe just because I'm on my own, that's not enough. I need to leave the space of my own personal home and be with people and community and feel the warmth of the tribe around me. And Islam wants us to be like that. All of the smartest people in the world sat down to decide, how do we define the human being? Human being that all of us are, me and you. How do you define a human being? What is a human? And they came up with two words, when put together, describe who a human being is. I'm going to ask you, think about it. What two words, when put together, how would you define a human being? And you can only use two words. Little challenge for all of you. And I'm going to give you a bit of time to think about it. You can only use two words to define a human being. That's okay. No hands here. No hands. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hamad. Yeah. Hands down, guys. I didn't say nothing yet. Question is, if you only had two words, how would you define a human being? Alright, what do we think? Sister, go ahead.
Unique and social.
Pardon me?
Unique and social.
Unique social. Okay. Interesting. I wish I could write this down so I can critique it, but fine. Unique social. Good. Okay. What else do we got, brother?
Like different types of species.
Now, two words. Different. Two words. Okay. Are you guys playing with the mic? Yeah. I thought I suddenly got a lot of Josh and I didn't even know it. Alright, cool. Alright, go ahead.
Social beings.
Social being, okay, interesting, yes. Extrovert, introvert, who's lecture you been listening to? Okay. Sister, go ahead. I can't hear you, sorry. Beautiful, yeah? That's one word though. You've got to pick another one. Beautiful, smart. Okay. These are adjectives. Beautiful, smart, unique. Okay. But I want a definition, which is a human being is something, not how we can be sometimes, right? Like, what is our state of being? Go ahead. Personal and social. Okay. Sometimes, I'll come to you guys in a second. It's possible that our words can be too general or too specific. So for example, who said beautiful? Who said beautiful? Right? Beautiful, right? It's true. But isn't our trees beautiful? And mountains beautiful? And the whole world can be beautiful. So that one is true, but it's also true for many things. So how is that defined just human beings? Sorry, sister, it's just for the shamal and the yeah, can you guys sort the mic out? Because I'm starting to hear my own inner thoughts. It's a dark place. Okay, go ahead. So that's the thing. Beautiful can be anything. Okay, and grateful. Now then someone says unique, right? Or what's the other one? Unique and social. Okay. Social means you hang out with others of your kind. Aren't bees social? Bees have their own hive. Aren't cows social? They have their own groups of kinds. But they all of those animals are social, alright? Think about it. If we're using the word social, so many things are social. Birds are social because they fly together. So that word isn't enough to describe us. Okay. What other words were said before, by the way? What other words were said? Well, you got another one. But I have a feeling you know the answer, so I'm not coming to you. Here's what we need to do. We need to find a way. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me at the back? Yeah, but there's no mic, so my voice is going to go there. Alright, how about now? There's always like a sweet spot. Is that okay? Okay, I'm not going to move anything, okay? Alright, cool. So it can't be social because many things are social, and it can't be beautiful because many things are beautiful. Then someone said, what other words were used? Call out a word that was used?
Unique.
Unique, what else? Okay, smart. Someone said smart. Yeah, so are we saying that if someone's not smart, they're not a human being? Not all human beings would be like smart in that way. So the word we're using is only a few people. It's got to fit only human beings, no one else, and it can't miss anyone out in the middle. Okay, what are the words? You can call out some words. What are the words? Living. Okay, living. But hold on a second. Aren't plants living? Aren't bees living? You know, like little fleas, are those things living? Go ahead, sister.
Intelligent.
Intelligent, but some people aren't intelligent. Let's not lie. In this room, everyone is, but some people aren't intelligent. Okay, I want you to take another 10 seconds to solve my problem. What are we going to do? It can't be too much, too little. Think about it. Alright. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm going to give you the first word, and then I'm going to ask you the second word. Hands down, listening please everyone. Listening guys? Okay. The first word which is used for a human being is that human being is an animal. Hold on a second, I didn't finish. It's an animal, but it's a certain type of animal. Animal means a living being with life. A certain kind of animal which only defines human beings, generally. So what that means now is we've got a bit more now. We're not including like trees because they're not animals. We're not including plants. We're not including planets, they're not animals. But we are including monkeys and fish and, I don't know, spiders. Let's say they were animals. What words can we use to describe animal which only describes human being, and you won't think of any other animal except human being among them? What do you think? Huh? Rational. You think rational, okay? What do you think? Is it rational? One word is definitely animal. Creative animal. You think rational animal. What do you think? Hamza, what do you think? So, mammal animal, yeah? Okay. Listening guys, sister, go ahead. Reasoning animal, good.
Land.
Huh?
Land animal.
Land animal, okay. Amira, do you have what you want to say? Wait, guys, this is very special. Guys. Listening please. Someone very special has raised their hand, we've got to let her speak. Go ahead, what do you think? Elephant. Allahumma. How are we going to describe this animal? Go on, last point, brother.
Remorseful.
Pardon me? Remorseful. Okay. So what we're then saying is, if something is not like this, they're not human being anymore, right? So if we say, what did you say? Destructive. It's very pessimistic view of human beings, by the way. So if someone's not destructive, that means they're not a human being. Oh, very Nietzschean, right? If someone's not remorseful, they're not a human being. That. So we have to be careful. The ones that in the books we find is two words. Some say thinking animal, some say talking animal. Okay? Because I'm going to say something, guys. Please listen. An animal which can think and talk as well, whichever word you use, has a rationality in their mind where they can form ideas and they can communicate those ideas. If you just say they can move around, or they are land-based, or they are mammal, many animals, a chimpanzee is a land-based mammal as well. But a talking animal is only a human being. You can't go and have a chat and communicate in a universal language with other beings. Listening please. Guys, listening. I also agree that this is not a perfect definition. Maybe you can find a better one. I'll ask you guys later. But what it does do, it tells us that talking and communicating is a part of who we are. It's essential to who we are. The idea that you talk to others, you communicate, because that's how you're defined from other animals that exist as well. One of the, hands down, I'll ask questions, don't worry, hands down please. One of the reasons why, right now, we have wrong things in the world and bad, and evil in the world, one of the reasons is because people have used their words and their actions to do wrong things. Not only that, sometimes we will remain quiet and we allow bad things to happen. Imam Hussein says this. Imam Hussein says, if you see evil in front of you and you're quiet, you can be part of the same evil in front of you. We can't remain quiet anymore. We have to use our words and be a force for good in the world. Imam Hussein also, actually another Imam also says that even if you do an action and you know that it's wrong and someone else relies on your bad action, you're part of what they're doing that's wrong. So all our actions are linked and connected together. That then leads us to another most important question, which is, even if everyone else is doing evil and wrong and bad around us, all they're doing good, doesn't matter. How should I as an individual behave to create goodness in my whole society? Let's say I'm a talking animal, what should my words be like? Let's say I'm a rational animal, what should my thoughts be like? What do I do as an individual to show everyone just by who I am that I represent Imam Hussein alayhi salam? I think to answer that question we have to ponder on a narration from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. And here's one more chance for you to get your thinking cap on, you rational animals, you, and answer what you think this narration means. Imam al-Sadiq says, be for us an ornament, not a disgrace. Be for us an ornament. Anyone know what ornament is, by the way? What's an ornament? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think to yourself, what does it mean to be an ornament for Imam today and not a disgrace for them today right now? Go ahead. Imam al-Sadiq says, be for us an ornament, not a disgrace. So I'm asking you guys, what does that mean for us right Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam has said, and this hadith, by the way, is the secret to how to reform your society. Imam says, be for us an ornament, not a disgrace. And I ask you guys, what does that mean for us today? What ideas have we got? Is that a hand? Oh yeah, okay, cool. What hands up, you know? Or you have an idea of what it might mean for us today to be an ornament, not a disgrace. Go ahead, brother.
Make us look good and not bad.
Make us look good and not bad, meaning make the imams look good and not bad?
Yeah.
Okay? How would you do that?
With a heart, the way you dress, the way you act.
Okay, interesting. How you dress and act, go ahead.
Ornaments defined as like being useful for a purpose and like being accessories or worship. So like you have to behave in a way that in the afterlife you support Imam Hussein and all the Imams instead of being against them and being.
I get the second part, behaving with Imam, but could you tell me again what an ornament, in your own words, what's an ornament, in your own words, look at me. What's an ornament?
Something that serves a purpose and it's an accessory of worship.
An accessory of worship? I actually didn't know that. Okay, interesting. MashaAllah.
I think it means that we're like, you have to represent the imams and the prophets, and you could be like a good role model for everyone else.
Be a good role model, good, and represent them, right? Because they're watching us, good. Sister, right?
It's like, everyone is different.
One second, I'm so sorry. Guys, because of a little bit of talking here and there, like just right around here, I can't hear the sister, and she's literally right in front of me, and that's mad. So, she's quiet down and let me hear. Go ahead.
Because everyone is different. It like builds up different parts of the religion and also of like your own character kind of. And it also like represents Islam, and it's kind of like decoration, but it's like decoration. When I mean decoration, like
I get exactly what you mean. Those were 2 points, by the way, that I have never thought about before. The first one is the idea that we are all different, right? And we each show something different in ourselves about the Imams. And haven't they got one's called Jawad, one's called Mushtaba, one's called Sayyid al-Shuhada, one's called Al-Baqir. They all are different themselves. So here we are showing different sides of them. That's a great point. And then you said the thing about decoration, that we have to be decoration for them. That is like, mashallah, very good point. Someone here had a hand up. Yeah, go ahead.
It's usually something good, so it feels good that Imam accept you.
Boom. And if there's something on display, how do people appreciate it? What are they doing to it? Are they touching it? Are they writing about it? How are they engaging with it? All they do is look at it, right? And that's the job done. That's the exact point we're coming to. An ornament is just there. It's just there. Anyone who looks at it will find it beautiful. They don't need to ask the ornament or read on the words of the ornament. An ornament is a piece of art, and on it represents something, some idea of the artist. The Imam is saying, all of you are like an ornament where people just look at you. You don't need to tell them, I'm Muslim, I follow Imam Ahlul. No. They just look at you. And somehow in how you dress or behave or how you look, they go back towards Ahlul Bayt. But look at the opposite. If they just look at you and you do something that's wrong, even if you say, look, I was doing something wrong, but I follow Imam and Quran's great. No. But they looked at you and they judged your whole faith by your behavior. So Imam's saying, they're going to judge you regardless. They're just going to look at you and decide about what you represent. Either you are something which makes an ornament for us, you are decoration for us, you make us more beautiful, or you disgrace us. Because they know your name is Ali, or Hassan, or Zahra, or Zainab, and those are our names, and they see you do something evil, they think those people were evil as well, because they see your actions. This is such an important point for all of you. You're not expected to go around and telling everyone, I'm a Muslim, I follow this, that and the other. If they ask you, you answer. All you're expected to do is behave how they behaved. And they will come towards you and learn about your faith just through your behavior. Be an ornament. This means then that Karbala is about every single one of you becoming an ornament for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That you listen to the Masa'ib, you learn something, it affects who you are, and then you go through the words, just behaving a little bit differently. And if anyone sees your behavior, they will wonder, what is it that's different about this person than any other person? Why is that behavior different? Why are they an ornament for my Imam? And likewise, if everyone is doing wrong in a group, I don't get to join in that wrongdoing. My Imam was prepared to lose his children, his thirst, his water, his food, his whole comfort for truth. Why do I get to give up then? He was prepared to fight against 30,000 for what he believed was right. Why can't I fight against 1 billion school from bullying someone else in front of me? I don't get to be quiet when that happens anymore. Imam Hussein alayhi salam gives you a spine which no one can take away from you anymore. You're an ornament now, you have to stand. Ornaments can't be broken, they can't sit down and hide away. They are proud of what they are. And we, as Imam Hussein alayhi salam's followers, we don't get to sit it out when there's wrongdoing in front of us. We don't get to explain it away, we don't get to blame them and take big excuses. No, none of that's allowed anymore. We have to be an ornament where if we see wrongdoing, wherever we see it, in our school, in our home, in our family, in our mosque, wherever you see wrongdoing, you don't get to sit down when Hussein stood anymore. Be an ornament. Okay, I get that. Anyone doesn't get that? You get that, right? We're on the same page, are we good? Be an ornament, be like him, behave like him. What parts of Imam Hussein's behavior should we have in ourselves? That we just go through life behaving like this thing, and they look at us and they are proud, the Imams are proud of us. I'm going to give you maybe 1 or 2 words in the time that we have left, and I'm going to ask you, how can you be this thing? What does this thing mean? And then I'm going to show you how Imam Hussein believes in that same thing. Number 1, freedom. Everyone says, I want to be free, I want to have freedom, I want to show that I can do what I want. Okay, let me ask yourselves, what is freedom? What does it mean for you to be free and act with freedom? Think for yourselves for a moment, take a few seconds, talk to the person next to you. What does it mean to embody and be free? And someone looks at you and sees that you are free. What does that mean? What does it mean to be free? That's the question. Thirteen, 12, 11, The first word I want to see how we can embody this is freedom. Everyone talks about, I want to be free, I want to have freedom. But what does that actually mean? Okay. All the sisters have their hand up. Isn't that interesting? You know about that? Okay. Sister, why don't you go first? Yeah, you sister. Zara, yeah. To have no limits. Okay. Sister, go ahead.
Freedom, I mean, because like it's like different for girls and boys, like equal, like equal. So like if a girl goes into the street, it's like different for her because like not all boys, like most boys think they can take advantage of them. And it's like, but with boys on the street, it's just like you can't take advantage of them. Like so, like equalness for everyone.
Yeah. So not taking advantage and being free from that kind of harm. Good. Sister, go ahead.
I think it means to be able to do the right thing without other people telling you how to do it.
So freedom from limits, freedom from unequal treatment, freedom to do the right thing. Amazing. Go ahead, sister.
You're not being isolated or abused.
Freedom to not be isolated or abused. A very beautiful point. Thank you for mentioning that. Go ahead, sister.
Freedom means that you have all the rights and can do whatever you want and nobody.
Could you say the first part again, please?
Freedom means that when you're free and you have all the rights and you can do whatever you want.
Freedom to have all rights to do whatever you want. Amazing. Any other sisters before I go to the brothers? Any other sisters who want to say something? Alright, brothers, what do you guys think? Go ahead.
Desire.
Freedom from? Desire. Or desire to do what you want. Which one do you mean? Freedom of desire. Doesn't help you, bro.
Because we don't have desires.
Yeah?
So you can live by desire.
Okay, good. Good desires. Go ahead. Of this word. Okay. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What I'm getting from all of you is that freedom and to be free is firstly to not have any limits on your will. So whether it's people or harm in the streets or like other things, they don't inhibit on your freedom. And it means once you have your own freedom, you can decide to do the right thing or anything that you desire or wish. Here's the thing though. Freedom is true, right? Freedom is when you can choose your own behavior and your conduct. But so often our choices aren't actually free. We think they are. but they're not. If you want to go and buy something online, right? You think you're choosing, you've got your own money, you can buy whatever you want, no one's going to stop you. But that same brand that you're buying is being advertised by everyone you follow on Instagram, all of those people, those influencers. Online, because you have certain algorithms, your phone keeps showing you certain clothing again and again and again. They've been sponsored, those websites, to be on the front page of that website. And everyone in school is wearing the same thing that you want to wear now. So how was that free? It was influenced by that person on TikTok, the person online, the website that they paid for, everyone in school wearing it. So did I really make a decision of my own, or did I just actually follow what others want me to do? Similarly, if someone says to you, you don't need namaz, salat, Quran, you don't need all of those things, you should just be free from all religion. Ask yourself, well, what do they want to spend their life doing? They want to spend their life enjoying, just playing for the sake of playing. They want to spend their life, wasting time. They want to spend their life going to places they shouldn't be going to. Okay, so you weren't actually free, you were actually enslaved by something else. You were enslaved by an addiction. Where's the freedom in smoking a cigarette if you're addicted to it and you're forced to do it in your body? Where's the freedom in going somewhere you shouldn't go to if that bad voice is making you go there? You're simply listening to that voice. So freedom is more than just doing what you want to do. And freedom is more than just not doing what others want you to do. True freedom, according to Imam Hussein and Ahlul Bayt, true freedom is when you make your own choice, which is not affected by any other desire forcing you to do that thing. No temptation. No temptation, no one influencing you, no peer pressure, no Instagram models, none of that stuff. No TikTokers who've been paid money to show you a product. In some movies, they just have a certain watch sometimes. You know why they've got that watch? It's because they're paid by a watch company to have your watch in that film. So everyone's watching going, right, I want that watch. That's literally it. There's no freedom. They're forcing you to choose certain things. Imam Hussein says, if you are not going to be free in this world, meaning, if you're not going to be free in this world, you're going to be addicted to everything in this world, at least be free in the hereafter. Which means, choose to live in such a way in this world that you live and die by dignity, by what is right. And no one stops you doing what's right. That's freedom. Choosing to do the right thing when the whole world wants you to do the wrong thing. So freedom is not doing whatever I want. Freedom is doing the right thing when other things are making me and forcing me to doing the wrong thing. Okay, let me give you one more word, if the mic will allow, and we'll move on and we'll finish. Another word. I should live my life according to this one thing, but do I actually know what it means? That word is sacrifice. So I'm going to ask all of you. What does it mean to be someone who has sacrificed or lives a sacrifice? This is the last thing I'm going to ask you before we move on, so give yourselves 20-30 seconds. Get it all out there. Go ahead, guys. Ask your friends. Get it Alright guys, Imam Sadiq said, no hands. Imam Sadiq says, be for us an ornament, not a disgrace. That means in your behavior, people should look at you and think of us. Okay, I get that. So when I'm saying it shows you should be free, do the right thing, I'm doing the right thing, I get it. What about sacrifice? How can I be someone who embodies sacrifice that they see in my behavior? Hands up if you know, guys. Go ahead first. 1 second, God. Sisters, let's also listen to the dear brother and let's see what he's got to say. Go ahead, please. When you sacrifice something for something else. Great way to start us off. But let's add more detail. Go ahead.
You save your own, you die yourself and you save someone.
So you can sacrifice your life, that's true, you can do that if it comes to that. Go ahead. You leave something behind, okay, go ahead. 1 second, guys, excuse me. Guys, brother, excuse me. You know how I just let you speak and we listen to you? Now let's let him speak and then we listen to him, okay? All of you, go ahead. Giving something away to achieve something else. So like what you said, but it could be anything, including your life, okay? Any brothers over here? You guys had a good conference, go ahead.
The way that Abraham sacrificed his son for God,
The way Nabi Ibrahim sacrificed for Allah, what did he sacrifice? What did he give up? His son, or he nearly, right? Spoiler, but okay. But he was ready to, right? Ready to give up his son for his faith. Good, very good. No, you spoke before that. And it was too good a point. I can't go back to you. Go ahead, sister. Yeah.
To give up everything for the sake of good.
Okay, so everything. One guy here said give up something. That's sacrifice. But do you think you have to give up everything in order for it to be sacrifice? Because the brother here says your life. That's a big thing to give. So are you describing the best sacrifice or a sacrifice? I think that's the best. What would you say is just normal sacrifice?
To sacrifice a thing that, one thing that is important to you.
Okay, that's important. That's a new word. We didn't have this word, by the way. Okay. I'm convinced there's a kid on the mic and he's kind of like just like playing around with the system. He goes up and down. He's up there, yeah? Alright, cool. Sister in the back.
Sacrificing like or like giving something like good towards your brother.
Giving something towards what, sorry?
Like if you have an old toy and I give it up and give it to your younger brother and stuff.
Okay, but you'd give something up for them, yeah? You'd give something up. Okay, good. Something you have, which you give up for something else which you don't have. I like where you're going. Is that your hand up at the back? Did I see a hand over there? I thought I saw a hand. Too many people. Sorry, I'm coming back here. Go ahead. Yeah, you first. Sorry, sister. No, sorry. If you mind, go ahead, sister at the front.
Being ready to give up anything for good or for Islam.
We're going to give for Islam, okay. Was there a point here? You can go water. Is there a point over here? Yeah. One there, and then you spoke already. Last point, go ahead.
sacrificing something fundamental to you in your life.
Sacrifice something fundamental for you. So what I'm getting from all of you, I'm getting what you sacrifice, but I'm not getting why. Let me explain. Some of you are mentioning if something's important to you, or fundamental to you, or your life, or anything for you. If there's something else more important, you will sacrifice for that thing, right? But I don't get why you would do that. Why would you give up something for something else? Just because it's worth more, why would you do that? Someone mentioned Nabi Ibrahim, you mentioned it, yeah? Nabi Ibrahim. Nabi Ibrahim is tested by God that for you to reach the next level or the next stage of belief, you've got to give something up. So what he wanted was growth. I'm saying to all of you, sacrifice is when you need to grow. And you can't achieve that growth without giving something up to get to the next stage. Let me give you an example. I remember in the news there was floods about 20 years ago in Oxford. Yeah, there was floods. And in the story there was a boy whose foot got stuck in a drain, as in a ditch, okay? And as the water was building up in that ditch, they had it in the news, it was going up and up and his foot was stuck. So at some point, as the water comes to his neck and it's going higher and higher and higher, he says, someone come and cut off my foot. The boy himself says. They cut his foot off, and only when they cut him off, moments later, the water went above him and they saved him. He would have drowned. So there was a news story, and I said to him that why did you allow them to cut your foot off? And you know, like you're lost a foot now and it's not nice. So he said, I realized then that I was going to die if I didn't cut it off. So I had to choose. Do I cut part of myself off to grow, or do I accept staying where I am? And the boy said, I would have to cut something off from me, even though it's important to me, in order to grow and to keep moving and keep living. That's what life is like for us. Sometimes something can be so important and it's like a part of you, and you can't imagine ever losing that thing. But if you need to grow and survive and keep developing in your journey, you're going to have to give up some things that are important to you just to get to the next stage of your life. Right? Ibrahim ala Nabina has to give up his son, or at least be okay with giving up his son, because that's part of his growth. That boy had to give up his foot because it's part of his growing and living. Someone came from Ali Akbar alayhi salam, and they were on the road to Karbala. Ali Akbar, you know Ali Akbar alayhi salam, yeah? And they said to him, do you know Ali Akbar, there's enemy behind us who are following us towards Karbala and they're going to kill us. So Ali Akbar says to his father, to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, are we on right or are we on wrong? Imam says we are on the path of righteousness, we're doing what God wants. So Ali Akbar says, if they come to us from behind us, or we go to Karbala, how does it make a difference for us? We're on the right, or we're going towards God. If they come to us, or we go towards them, what's the difference? Meaning, we're ready to sacrifice something that's so important to us. Whether the whole world is chasing us, or we're going to where we want to go, these things don't matter. We're ready to give up something for the sake of God. That comes first. The road comes second. How you get there comes second. Who's with you comes second. All those things come second. What you're prepared to do for your idea is the most important thing. And Imam Hussain is ready to give up everything for his religion. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So in conclusion, the Quran says that we have to reform ourselves to change our society around us. And the way to do that is to be a living embodiment or monument of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We embody freedom. Freedom is when we are prepared to do the right thing, and we are free to choose to do the right thing. And sacrifice. We are ready to give up anything as long as we continue growing, inshallah. If all of us are going to live and die, inshallah, by these words and hope to always follow the advice of the Imam, all together, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Let us now, for the last moments that we have, stop talking to the person next to us, and on our own, think of the musibat and the suffering of the shuhada of Karbala. On the day of Ashura, there are many people who are on their own journey towards Allah, and they have found Imam Hussain as someone taking them towards their path. Some of them are elderly and some of them are children. One of those children who we're going to speak about today, who is ready to give up everything for whatever the Imam wants from him, is Hazrat Qasim. Hazrat Qasim is 13 or 14 years old. Let's say he's 13. He's very young, and he's got no father with him, because his father, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, has already died many years earlier. He comes with everyone, with Ali Akbar, with Awlad Muhammad. They're all his cousins. They grew up together. But when the day of Ashura comes, what does he see? Hazrat Qasim sees, Hazrat Ali Akbar goes, he fights, he's allowed to go and fight. All Muhammad go, they're allowed to go and fight. All his cousins can go. And every time he goes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hussein says, no Qasim, I can't let you go and fight. How can I let you fight? You are the son of my brother, my big brother. I can't let you go. And every time he goes back, Hazrat Qasim feels so sad. He goes back to his tent and he sits there and he just starts crying on his own. And his mother says to him, why are you crying? And he says, because every time I go to my uncle Imam Hussein and say, why are all my cousins going and they're doing and standing for you, you won't let me fight. And he keeps saying no. So then his mother says, take this letter. I'm going to give you a letter. This letter was written by your father many years earlier. And he told me when the day comes, when Qasim is growing up and he wants to fight for Imam Hussein, give him this letter. So Qasim becomes really excited. He takes this letter and he goes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein says, what can I do for you, my dear nephew Qasim? He says, I would like to ask you one more time, just like you. I can't let you go, you are my dearest nephew. Then he says, I have a letter for you. Imam Hussein takes the letter, he opens, the letter says, this letter is for the one who will be all alone on Karbala by your brother Imam Hassan. There will come a day, and there is no day like your day, Hussein. Imam Hassan's writing this. La yawm yawmaka ya Aba Abdullah. There's no day like your day. No suffering, no sadness like your day. He writes, my dear brother Hussein, you are my brother, my beloved brother. I will not be there with you on your most difficult day. I won't be there with you. But I will send my nephew, my son, your nephew Qasim. On that day, treat him how you would treat me. Give him permission, how you would give it to me, how I would fight. Imam Hussein looks and says, well now Qasim, I just can't refuse anymore. My brother has commanded me to give you permission. Fight. Imam Hussein goes to Qasim and he himself puts armor on his body. And he himself gives him a sword. Qasim is so small, they say, while he walks, the sword drags from his body onto the ground while he walks. That's how small he is and how big the weaponry is. They take Qasim, they put him on his horse, and Imam Hussein says, go. Go and make your father proud. Go now. Become someone who makes us proud. Do you know what happens next? They say, Hazrat Qasim gets on his horse and starts riding towards the battlefield. Do you know what he says while he rides? He says, I am Qasim. I am the son of the one who is Al-Mujtaba. All of you enemies want to fight Imam Hussein. I am like an angel on the ground, like wings that will fly towards you. Imagine a child with this much bravery. They say while he's fighting and going towards them, at some point, one narration says, you know, his shoe, his sandal becomes untied. So while they're running towards him, he just stops, ties his shoe and carries on fighting. He's not scared at all. When they come towards him, one by one they come towards him, one by one they fight him, one by one. And every time they come, he defeats them. So do you know what they do? They send their most biggest soldier they have. And they say, he's our warrior, fight him. And Hazrat Qasim even defeats him every single time they come. Then one of the enemies says, we can't fight him. There's some bravery in this boy that he just won't give up against us. So what we need to do to fight him is stop fighting him from the front. Fight him from each side of his and behind him. Surround him that he can't see where we're coming from. So do you know what they do? One by one they break rank and they go all around him. One hits him from behind, one hits him from the left, one hits him from the right, one from the front, one fires an arrow, one fires his sword, one hits his lance, and all of these wounds at one moment come on him in 1 second. So he falls to the ground from all of those around him attacking him. When he falls, he says, oh please help me, my uncle Hussein. When he says these words, Abu Abdullah runs from the battlefield. The hadith say he runs like a hawk in the sky, flying down to its prey. That's how fast he runs. And as he's running, he says, Qasim, don't stop calling for me because I don't know where you are. But while Qasim's calling for him, his voice starts stopping. Why? Because the enemies start getting on their horses, and one by one they start trampling the body of this boy. While he's calling my uncle Hussein, the horses are trampling his body. At one point he stops calling. Why? Because all the horses have gone back and forth on his body. Now by the time the Imam comes, what does he see? There's no more one boy calling him.
there's one part of his body here, one part of his body there, one part of his body there. Do you know one poet says? He says Hussein kneels on his knees, and like a gardener picks up petals of flowers, he picks up pieces of his nephew Qasim. And he takes this boy and gathers what he can and goes back towards the Maqdam, towards them. And while he's walking, holding whatever is left of his child, he says the same words again and again and again. I am from God and I will go back towards God. And one day I will complain to you, Ya Allah, for all the things the enemy did to my son. What are those words in Arabic? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Let's raise all of our hands in dua, all of us together, inshallah. Ya Allah, for all of the pain and suffering this boy went through, let all of us follow his example and be brave in the face of the enemies, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, if Hazrat Qasim was ready to give up everything and sacrifice everything for his Imam, allow us to let go of any bad habits or bad deeds for our Imam, inshallah. And finally, because this Majalis has been arranged by all the organizers and everyone who's been helping out, and all the volunteers, Ya Allah, reward all of them as servants of Ahl al-Bayt, inshallah. Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqqi Fatima wa biha ba'aliha wa baniha wa sirr al-musta'awdu fiha an tusallahu alayhi wa ajil farajahum. Let's all stand for Matam al-Hussein.
तेरे बनड़े नू कीवे सेरा लावा मैं सेहरा समझ के चादर जदों कोली कासिम दे लई निशलाश न पूरी आई शागटी कोल के जदों परवानू पुत्र दी लाश बखाई Oh my Qasim, let me see your bright face once again. Oh my Qasim, until I see you my heart won't rest. Oh my Qasim, let me see your bright face once again. Oh my Qasim, until I see you my heart won't rest. The backbone of Hassan was trampled on the sand. The backbone of Hassan was trampled on the sand. He was handsome like the moon, but the moon couldn't compete. For the bloodline of the Prophet even made the stars retreat. For the bloodline of the Prophet even made the stars retreat. The young prince of Karbala, what a short life did you live? The young prince of Karbala, what a short life did you live? Better said by Lady Ramla, this was your time to give. Better said by Lady Ramla, this was your time to give. Oh my Qasim, indeed you prepared for this sad day. Oh my Qasim, from the earth they took your light away. Oh my Qasim, indeed you prepared for this sad day. Oh my Qasim, from the earth they took your light away. The backbone of Hassan was trampled on the sand. The backbone of Hassan was... Let me see your bright face once again. Oh my Qasim, until I see you my heart won't rest. Oh my Qasim, let me see your bright face once again. Oh my Qasim, until I see you my heart won't rest. The backbone of Hassan was trampled on the sand. The backbone of Hassan was trampled on the sand. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.